Hey there, fellow CEOs. Today we are talking about a hot topic, and that is burnout. If you've been in the entrepreneurial world for any length of time, you know how exhausting it can be. And so today I'm talking about how to prevent exhaustion and burnout, or at least at minimum, minimize it so you can get one step closer to stepping into your visionary role as the badass CEO that you are. Okay? Your capacity, I'm talking time, energy, your mental and physical ability, all are huge factors in your ability to serve your clients and function in life in general. All right? We're talking in general here. Your capacity varies every day, and so overloading your schedule will absolutely never serve you. And so I'm talking about planning out your schedule, putting tasks on your to-do list, scheduling meetings, events, outings, etc. Your capacity has so much to do with your ability to be your best. As a CEO, you get to decide how your business runs and what your schedule looks like. You as a CEO have that power. And now there are a lot of factors influencing those things. Yes, absolutely. Yes, there are. And so personally, I don't love a ton of meetings on my calendar for any reason. So with technology today, there are ways to communicate effectively without having to meet in person or even virtually. And so I use Slack for voice messages and communication. I use ClickUp for task management with my team. And this is how we stay in the loop without using energy to be on a call. And more importantly, as a virtual service provider, I use Loom videos to talk back and forth with clients when I'm working on projects or even with my team members. And so now I'm not saying I don't attend meetings. I do attend meetings. And when I do, they have a very specific purpose with an agenda created. Only the amount of time needed with the freedom to freely talk about what's going on, though. Okay. I have a question for you, though. Do you prefer to have time to think things over before responding when presented with new or clarifying information? I want you to think about that. That's one reason why I'm not a big fan of meetings, yet I like to use my method of voice messages and Loom videos. Okay. I certainly love having that ability to be able to think things over. And so I have set my business up to allow me to do just that. So my clients know to send me a Slack or a Loom video, and I'll get back to them sooner. And we don't even have to find a time that works for the both of us to meet. And busy entrepreneurs, we know how hard that can be. And so I also get to respond when it feels right and convenient. And this allows me to think things through and respond when I have the capacity and when they have the capacity. So it serves us both. And so since making this shift in my business, it's actually allowed me and my clients to not feel as overwhelmed or like they have to have a packed meeting or a packed schedule full of meetings. And this also alleviates a lot of the pressure that used to be on me personally to show up to the call when I didn't really when I just wasn't feeling it. So now I only have calls on my calendar that are necessities or that light me up. And that feels really freaking good for my business model. And so your first action step is to actually evaluate whether your schedule makes sense for your usual capacity. And so consider the season in which you're in right now in your life and in your business as well. Okay. And so when your schedule, workload, expectations, etc., aren't in alignment with your capacity, exhaustion happens so much faster. And unless you take action to actually remedy the things that are causing your exhaustion, you're going to be walking right into burnout. And burnout, which is physical or mental collapse caused by overwork or stress, that doesn't sound pleasant at all. So burnout means that you have been pushing and pushing and pushing through everything for so long that your body is now, I'm done. It's just like, I am done. You just can't do it anymore. And that is when your body will require you, mandate you, to take a break. Whether you like it or not, it's just going to happen. And the worst part about this is usually at the absolute worst times, like maybe in the middle of a lunch, during a trip, or during any of those times where you really just need to feel good and be productive. And so here's your second action step. And it's to really think about what your capacity is. And I've got 3 things to get you thinking on this. The first question here to ask yourself is your business set up for your personal capacity? Okay, like I said earlier, I just can't have a lot of meetings on my schedule because it didn't align with my capacity. So I figured out how to still get the result of a meeting without the meeting. Okay. So if there's something on that schedule that's bumping up against your capacity, how do you still get the same outcome, the same result without the actual thing? Okay. I don't know. Not everything can be done that way, but I was able to get the result of a meeting without a meeting. Mind blowing. I love it. So the second question I'd have you ask yourself is, does your schedule feel overloaded? Okay. And if you answered yes, it does, what really needs to be on there? I really want you to think about this. Personally, I took off those meetings, but also I took off the pressure of doing everything. I had to evaluate what was most important and also think about how often you feel exhausted, right? This could also mean outsourcing or delegating to your team, okay? So if your schedule feels overloaded, we need to really figure out what really needs to be on there. And the third question I want you to ask yourself is, are you taking care of yourself nutritionally, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of those things? Okay. What can you do to improve in at least one of those areas in the next few weeks? Okay. Personally, okay, I have started to have a daily smoothie. I've been taking my dogs on a walk, and I've been having regular conversations with my support team. Okay. And I say support team because there's many people involved in that. All right. So that's your second action step, really thinking about what your capacity really truly is, and then starting to come up with solutions to make it get closer to what it really needs to be. And so if you're wondering if you're actually headed to burnout, though, because I mean, who knows, right? I feel like maybe all of us are at some point, right? So it's essential to actually recognize these really early signs of burnout so you can act before things escalate, because we don't want things to escalate into burnout because, right, our body just shuts down. And so if we can see these earlier signs, we can actually interfere with it and maybe stop it or minimize it, right? And so here are some common signs of burnout. The first one is physical exhaustion, and that means feeling constantly tired or fatigued even when you have enough sleep. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one here is emotional exhaustion. So that's experiencing feelings of apathy, cynicism, or detachment. Okay. The third one, decreased productivity. So that means you're struggling to concentrate, complete tasks, or maybe even meet deadlines. The fourth one here is increased stress and anxiety. So feeling overwhelmed, irritable, or anxious. The next one, changes in sleep patterns. So difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up feeling unrested. And this last one here is physical symptoms. So like things like experiencing headaches, digestive issues, or other physical issues. Okay. So do you have any early signs that you're headed toward burnout? Really be honest with yourself. And remember, these are signs that are regularly present in your life, they're not just occasional. So it's safe to say there's a lot of things that go into preventing or minimizing exhaustion and burnout in your life. And our society is constantly moving, so it's constantly busy. And so let's talk about some ways that you can alleviate some of the stressors causing exhaustion and potentially burnout. Okay, these are 3 things that can absolutely, they're broad things. So there's a lot of things that you could do here, but really just start thinking about this. You could start enlisting support or help in your home. Right? That means maybe having the kids help more, or your partner help more, or hiring a service or something like that. Having help in your home. Okay? That is one way to start alleviating some of the stressors. Another thing can be enlisting help in your business, right? Hiring another team member, maybe delegating more to your team, whatever that looks like, and maybe outsourcing projects. And another thing that you could do is not jumping and taking action on every single idea that pops in your head. Okay, create a parking lot if you need to, like a list, and it kind of lives somewhere without any due dates. They're just ideas. Create that. Okay, these are broad things that you can do, but it can ultimately alleviate a lot of the stressors that could be potentially causing some of this exhaustion and then potentially leading into burnout if we don't intervene soon enough. Okay. So today I really want to have you take away from this that you and what your business brings to the table is so incredibly important to you and your clients, like plain and simple. And so when you aren't considering regularly what you need or setting up your schedule, your business model, etc., to work within your capacity, you are going to be much more stressed and exhausted, which means you're going to be heading toward burnout, and your body will eventually literally hit this burnout stage and shut down. And I don't want that for me, and I don't want that for you. So scaling business owners hit this stage of burnout so much faster. So if you're scaling right now, the chances of this happening are so much higher, especially when you're scaling really fast. And so when you bring on team members and when you bring on new clients, right, and you don't have enough capacity to actually cover all the things, that's when burnout will happen faster. So we want to try to prevent that. And I'm speaking from experience here because personally, I've scaled really, really fast in 2024, and I've been hitting or nearing and actually hitting a burnout stage a little bit more frequently than usual. And so I can attest to when you scale really fast that this can happen very quickly. And so I've had to be very, very mindful of everything that I've said today. Everything that I've told you, these are things that I know that I need to do. This is just as much a podcast for myself as it is for anyone listening. Okay. And so I take a new step every single week to move me closer to a more sustainable business and life, to not have exhaustion and burnout be the normal. I don't want that to be normal, right? So we get to take baby steps, giant steps, leaps, create new plans, whatever that looks like. But we get to do things differently so that we don't burn out. And so one of the ways that I personally can support you is by helping you actually streamline operations, those back-end systems and all those processes that you need in order to be more productive and more efficient in your business. I can help you streamline those operations. And I can also help you create like this roadmap, this plan for your next quarter so that you're not overloaded and you only have on there what you really need to, those tasks, those meetings, those events, all those things, so that you have more time to actually be that visionary CEO. All right. And so if you're interested in streamlining your operations or really getting that roadmap mapped out for your next quarter, head to the show notes, fill out the work with me form, and we're going to see what the next best steps are for you. And remember, your business cannot thrive if you are not thriving. So let's make sure you're thriving.